This is why it's important to do pre-channeling before your client sessions if you're an energy healer, a practitioner. Obviously, this is not going to be representative of everyone and what everyone is doing. This is what I have seen in my experience and the type of healing that I do with my clients. But stick around because we're going to have a lot of beneficial tips here. Thank you, Whitney, for giving me this prompt. The first thing that I will say is on my booking site for my Akashic Record readings. This is not solely if you do Akashic Record readings, obviously, whatever you're doing. I have a section that asks people, what do you want to focus on during our time together? Some people are going to say, leave it open and see what my spirit team and higher self has for me or inner children. That's perfectly fine. Okay, and I'll talk about what to do with that. But if you have clear directions beforehand, it is really going to help you with navigating the session. I also, on my booking site for my Akashic Record readings, have specifically what I help people with, because there are a lot of things I like to do and a lot of things I don't. I do not enjoy talking to people about their romantic partnerships. That is not one of the things that I list. But in listing the things that I like to do, helping people with their spiritual gifts, soul mission, channeling, upgrading their multidimensional techniques as a practitioner, growing their business, learning about inner child healing, past lives, that is setting the parameters. So when people land on my page, they say, oh, okay, I am very clear on what it is Sage is going to be able to support me with. Then that navigates them in my booking site to what would you like to focus on? And then it's always in that same wheelhouse. Then before I get on a session with someone, I personally like to pull oracle cards for them that I send them pictures of. I don't go over them in the session, but it does provide additional information. So I'll send them the guidebook descriptions and the pictures, and I build them a crystal grid. I ask each one of their chakras what kind of crystals are going to help with their healing and their growth, and take a picture of that and send it to them. Those two facets help me get a snapshot of what their session is going to look like, but you don't necessarily need to do that. That's just something I like to do. I do, however, recommend for everybody to sit down before each one of your sessions for 20 minutes to do pre-channeling. Obviously, you need to include this in the price of your services as well, because it is going to be additional time and energy on your end, but it is going to make it so much more dynamic, not only for you, but for your client. I will read through whatever notes that they left me about what they want to focus on. I will ask their higher self, inner children, different incarnations, and spirit team, what do you think about these notes that they left me? What additionally would you like me to know or to focus on? Because sometimes what a client wants to focus on is not what they need to. Their higher self says, actually, it's all this other stuff that's going on that they're not aware of or not looking at or haven't made correlations about. Let me give you a little bit more information beforehand so you can more clearly navigate this session with them. Or this will give you an opportunity to speak to their inner children, because they are a different consciousness than the adult is now. So maybe the adult is thinking it's one thing, but the inner children are like, no, it's actually this. Or you can ask different incarnations of them, past lives, to come forward to help mentor them, or maybe they have some additional insights, downloads, and guidance, or have been through similar things in their lifetimes and want to give some advice. This way, when you actually get into the session, you're going to feel a lot more confident because it's going to give you a lot of pretext as to what is going on in their energy field and in their life. When you jump into it, you already have parameters to work within. And now, obviously, we never know how sessions are going to go. Sometimes I will hold an intention, not only my own intentions for the client, but then the higher self's intentions, inner child, different incarnations, and then it goes in a completely different direction. So we need to be open for that as well, because things can pivot very quickly, especially if somebody's central nervous system is triggered or agitated, or they've had a ton of emotions that have not been processed through, or random things can pop up from their subconscious while you're speaking, and it's going to be more beneficial for them for you to go down those timelines to figure out what is going on. That is totally okay too. That is where your discernment as a practitioner comes in. There have been times where somebody's higher self has said, hey, I want you to focus on X, Y, Z with them. I, however, will override that. Maybe not in totality, but override it and say, actually, I think we need to do this, because people assume that the higher self is the all-knowing. We have multitudes of higher selves, just like you have multitudes of inner children. They are one perspective of you. You have all these other spirit teams. You have the version of you that's not even connected to this incarnation, that's a much higher multidimensional form of you. There are unicorns, fairies, dragons, all different things can come in and put their input that might be even more beneficial than what the person's higher self has for them. And then you, as a practitioner, have also been through a lot of experiences and perspectives that are outside of this person's consciousness and what they've been through in life. So sometimes what you have is more beneficial for them as well. But the pre-channeling really helped me shift my sessions to the next level, because I already have a framework in my mind going in. And what I do is I will get out a sheet of paper and I will ask that of the higher self team, inner children, different incarnations, hey, what you got for me? And then I will go line by line on this piece of paper, transcribing, automatic writing, channeling what comes through. Then when I get on the session with the client, I do my whole introduction, we do our grounding meditation, I explain to them how the process is going to work. The first question that I like to ask them is, okay, let's go over the notes that you left me. That way I'm confirming I am seeing and hearing what they're saying and validating them for that, and that I took the time to scope that out previously and I'm holding those intentions. And then I will say, tell me a little bit more about where you're at in life right now and where you want to get to. After they explain to me what is going on, that's when I make the decision, do we want to dive into that a little bit deeper first? Or do I want to start going over the notes that the higher self, different incarnations, inner children shared with me? Sometimes it's a little bit more beneficial to let people energy purge all the things they've been bottling up before your session, because they're so excited to tell you, or they just need that release. And then other times I can tell that they are really ready for an energetic shift. And if I just go ahead and give them the higher dimensional information that I channeled, we actually don't need to do all of that. We can just skip over and be a lot more forward momentum. But again, it's dependent on where your client is at in their energy and consciousness. I would love to hear in the comments if you have any questions about pre-channeling or the session processes. I am also hosting a masterclass on January the 25th where I'm going to be teaching the shamanic path of soul retrievals with different incarnations and inner children. These are elevated multidimensional techniques and past life regression, and how I taught myself how to do that to make it an easier process for you. So I would love to see you there. You can register for that in my bio or in the comments, and I'm wishing you a very magical day.